Okay, friends, it's Maddie. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be doing the horror movie book tag. This was originally created by Royal Reader. I will try to link a video down below, but I haven't been able to find anything so far, so at least giving credit to the original creator. There you go. The questions I'm going to list them down below in the description box if you would like to do this yourself, but here we go. So, question number 1, the zombie apocalypse, a book you would save when civilization ends. This one was a little bit difficult. I have a lot of favorite books. I'm not someone who, not a monogamous reader, and it was difficult, but I ended up choosing The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller because I read this book 5 or 6 years ago, probably. I don't know. It's been a while since I read it, but I think I read it. Yeah, I was in college when I read it, so it was at least 5 or 6 years ago. I'm still in college. What am I saying? So basically this is a retelling of the story of Achilles and Patroclus, who are featured in the Iliad. And it's about the relationship throughout all the events of the Iliad and before. And this book is so close to my heart. I love Patroclus so much, and Achilles kind of sucks a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but the story between them is really good, and Patroclus is just amazing, and I just don't know that I could live in a world that doesn't have the Song of Achilles in it. I think her other book, Circe, is also really good, but I definitely like the Song of Achilles more. And I definitely am due for like a reread of it, hardcore. Let's see. Question number 2, The Vampire, a book I would stake through the heart. And this one was a little bit difficult because, I don't know, like just because I don't like a book doesn't mean it deserves to be staked through the heart. But I picked The Wives by Taryn Fisher because it uses my least favorite trope, which is, spoilers right here. I'm going to spoil this for why I don't like it, but it uses my least favorite trope, which is they were crazy the whole time. And I really don't like that because, it trivializes mental illness. It makes it seem like mentally ill people are the only ones who commit crimes, and it's okay to, demonize mental illness because of all these books. And I really hate that shit. So, yeah, stake that book through the heart. Or What Lies Between Us by John Mark. Fuck that book. Question number 3, The Haunted House, a book that still haunts me. And I could have picked a bunch of things for this. I thought maybe Kill Creek by Scott Thomas, because that was really creepy. And I also thought something else. I can't remember what the other one was. But I ended up going with Gerald's Game by Stephen King, because the idea of being trapped and handcuffed to a bed, so I don't have use of my hands, and then I, can't really do much with the rest of my body is fucking terrifying. I would no. And then some of the things she has to do, how she gets out of it, and what's going on while she's trapped in there. Like, she thinks she sees something in her room and she's not sure if it's really there or not, and it deals with like the psychological thing of not knowing what's real and what's not real, and that's really terrifying to me. I sometimes think about parts from this book like just randomly because it just creeped me out so much. But yeah. Okay, question number 4, the psychological thriller, and this is a book with a twist I did not see coming, and that is going to be Pines by Blake Crouch. I read this after like the TV show had come out, Wayward Pines, and I never watched it, so I didn't have any idea what this was about. And you're following this, I think he's an FBI agent, and he's trying to track down some lost agents or something, and he wakes up in this town and he doesn't really know where he is or what's going on or how he got there. And it just seems like a really strange town to him, and it kind of unfolds from there and goes on, but the ending or the twist or like what's really going on in this town just blew my freaking mind. It made me immediately want to pick up the sequel, except like I totally didn't, and I really need to go back and reread them. I think it just like wasn't available at my library at the time, and so I didn't read it, and then I moved on to other things. But that twist, oh my god, it just, what? And it's like right at the end too, so you're just like, I'm sorry, where is this gonna go? Definitely recommend it. I think they're all free on Kindle Unlimited now. I think it's a trilogy. They're not super long, you know, like regular thriller length, 300 pages, something like that. Definitely worth a read. Number 5 is The Creepy Doll. This is a book that seems innocent, but isn't. And I picked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Now, the title, you know, it has murder in it, but like the cover looks kind of nice, and you're like, oh, it's just like a YA mystery thriller, like no big deal. What happens in this book? It's like this girl is doing, I think it's a senior project on this case that occurred in her town, you know, like a couple years before or something like that. And everyone thinks that like this one guy did it, but he also died at the same time, like the same night that the girl was found, he also died. So everyone just assumes that this guy did it, and she really questions whether or not he did it, and that's kind of why she chose it as her senior project. And it's very like Serial-esque, the podcast, but some of the things that she finds out that other people did like around this case peripherally was just crazy. And I just think that for being a YA mystery thriller, you know, sometimes I feel like they don't reach their full potential, or they kind of dial it back a little bit because it's for YA, but I really feel like this one felt like a murder mystery. It felt like I was somebody like investigating along with her, and I really liked that. Number 6 is The Monster, a book that I could barely tackle or defeat. For this, I picked a book that I read ages ago, but that was A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. This is the 3rd book in the Song of Ice and Fire series. I read these 3 books, I don't know. I want to say 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. I was reading this, and I just remember it being such a drag. I mean, it's over 1,000 pages. You keep getting all these characters introduced to you, and I like multiple perspectives, but I think that George R.R. Martin takes like way too far. Like, I can't follow it. I don't remember who people are. You go from, like, say you're following Bran for one point, and then you don't follow Bran again for like 600 pages, and you're like, wait, what is he doing? What's going on? And it just, I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, it felt like a chore to get through, and to me, that's when I know like a book just isn't working for me, personally. Number 7 is The Comedy Horror, and this is a book with mixed genres that worked or that didn't work. And I picked Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. This book is part sci-fi, part historical fiction, part literary fiction. Like, you just don't, you categorize it in all these different ways. And you follow this guy who wakes up and he's like with aliens, and it's kind of a hard book to explain. Basically, I picked this book because I think Kurt Vonnegut is the master of, like, or was the master of bringing in all these different elements, but making a point with his story that I really enjoy. Next, number 8 is The Teen Horror, a book you found super cliched or stereotypical, and I chose the book There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. The slasher parts of this book I really liked. And I didn't necessarily find those cliched at all. And who the killer was and all that sort of thing was fine. What I thought was cliched and what I didn't like was how much of this book revolved around a romantic relationship. So, like, comparing this book to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder didn't have, I think maybe there was a little bit of romance in it. Yeah, there was romance in it, I think. Or there was like a relationship building, but it wasn't so much that it took over the story. And in There's Someone Inside Your House, it definitely took over the story. And it just felt like just huge chunks of the book were more about this relationship between these two characters than about all these freaking people who were dying around them, which is what I read the book for. Duh. Yeah, so that part just didn't work for me. I think I would still read more from this author because I would hope that maybe next. I mean, I know she's written other books particular like contemporary romance, but she's coming out with another book next year that I think is another thriller mystery, and I'm willing to check it out, but if it's too romance heavy, I'm probably just going to be done with her. Number 9 is The Demonic Possession. That is a book so gripping I needed an exorcist to escape it. And so I kind of picked my other scariest book choice, which is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. And I just remember the last 40% of the book, I was like gripping the book, holding on to it so hard because I was just engrossed and really just like terrified of what was going to happen on the next page to these characters. Like, that story sucked me in. I do think it's a little bit long. I think some people don't like the first portion of the book or like the middle portion of the book perhaps, but I really ended up loving that book. And yeah, the last 40% of it was just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen, and I just felt like I was like turning the pages so hard. And then after reading that book, I was just so terrified, and I was just like, oh my god. Like, it's not often that I read a horror book that I genuinely feel terrified from, just because I think for me it's really hard to be terrified, and not really hard, but it's more difficult to be terrified in print than it is on a screen. But this one really did work for me. Okay, and the last book, number 10, the science fiction, and it's a precious book I would permanently sacrifice for the good of mankind. And the book I chose is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. And the reason I chose this book, I gave this book 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I don't know if enjoyed's the right word. I really liked this book, maybe. I don't know. The thing I don't like about this book is how many people like to say that it's a love story, or they're in love, or like people don't understand when it's really about like a 20-something-year-old man and like an 11-year-old girl, or maybe she was like 8 or something. And like, it's a messed up relationship between them. And I understand that, but I do not like people who call it a romantic relationship or say that they were in love, because they can't be in love. Like, he could be in love with her, which would be really gross and fucked up, but she's 8 years old. Okay? This is an authority figure to her. That's not... I could go on a tirade, but I'm not going to. But basically, it's statutory rape. That's not... I think she's like 13 when they have sex, so, ooh, good job on him. He waited like 5 years. No. I did not like that. But the story and the meaning and everything behind it really worked for me. So, like, I really liked the book Lolita. Did I like the fact that he was, like, sexually assaulting this girl? No, I did not. But that doesn't mean the book is not good. If you're saying it's romantic or glorifying the relationship in that, that's what I have a problem with. So, yeah. I would probably kick that book off here so I don't have to hear people talk about that anymore. Gross. Okay. Let me know in the comments down below what your answers are to these questions. I would love to know. I'll post questions down below so you can just copy and paste if you want, or if you really want, do a video of this and let me know. Post a link down below, tag me in it, whatever. I would love to see it. Are you supposed to tag people in these? I don't know if people still do that. I'm going to tag Rachel from the Shades of Orange, Jason from Jason's Weird Reads, and Lisa from Pink Paradox in this tag. Yeah, I'd love to see your answers, and yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Like this video if you liked it, and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see more content from me. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye.